Alright, it looks like we have Ethan Bow on Reanimator, don't mind the Reanimator misspelling, and then Paul P on 3 Cheese Whiz, which I believe ends up being a red deck. So both players kept on 7, and here we go. So Paul leads off with the Wooded Foothills, goes down to 19. Looks like he grabs a mountain. Passes the turn. Looks like Ethan's turn. Ethan leads off. Looks like a Verdant Catacombs. Nice fancy one. Ethan's also, I guess we got the score tied up in 1919. So the Reanimator matchup with against red deck, I would say it's in favor of Reanimator because they have Grizzlebrand, and Grizzlebrand is just an absolute beating for that deck. So not sure what Ethan is looking for here. Oh, looks like he's grabbing a Badlands. Is he going to follow it up with an Entomb of some sort or some kind of follow-up play? That looks like a Secret Lair Unmask, I believe, discarding an Unmask. Yep, let's see what Paul has here. Nasty little glare there, but this is why this deck's called 3 Cheese Whiz, because it's got that Prodigy, I think it's Prodigy Shaman. That's the weird one from Modern Horizons 2, which any wizard or shaman has an ability, but he chooses to make him discard that, and the cards that are revealed information looks like Lightning Bolt, Lava Spike, 2 mounts, and something else, but then, oh, Ethan hits him with the Faithless Looting. Discards a Secret Lair Grizzlebrand. And that looks like an Entomb that's from, I don't know where that one's from. Ooh, a Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal. Sack for double mana. Hit him with an Exhume. Looks like Grizzlebrand's going to be in Playboys. And I believe Paul gets to put in his Shaman as well too. I wish I knew what that card did more specifically, but that was, I know that has some weird ability with Burning Tree Shaman. So Ethan's at a nice healthy 19 life, and Paul's playing some form of burn, and there's already a Grizzlebrand in play. Looks like Ethan decided to use the ability of the Grizzlebrand, going down to 12, drawing 7 cards. Oh, hitting him with the Grief, pitching another Entomb. Alright, so Paul's hand is Lightning Bolt, Lava Spike. Now he's just down to 2 mountains, Lightning Bolt, and a Lava Spike, and he's passing the turn. And I should have marked that Ethan's life total is at 12, but I'm not good at that. Paul's draw for the turn. What is it? I hope it's something relevant that can get rid of a Grizzlebrand. That's not too bad, Soulscar Mage. There's an interaction where you can throw some damage at that Grizzlebrand, so it gets -3 counters if he's able to throw the bolt at it. I think that is a Marsh Flats. Man, I gotta get more adept at being able to identify these fetch lands from the, I think they're from like the expeditions, from that, not the first time they did expeditions, but the second time they did around. Sorry for the late guess. This video here is from our stream, and trying to upload on Wi-Fi didn't work too well, so bear with me there. But looks like we got a Swamp and a Badlands in play. Another Faithless Looting from Ethan. At this point he's just swinging right in the air, and I don't know if Paul's got any way to beat that. So it looks like he pitches, I think that one's the Marsh Flats. And Ethan hits for 7, which is going to bring Ethan back up to a nice 19. Oh, he's going to use Grizzlebrand's effect again, which should bring him back down to 11. Hey, look at that. We have accurate life totals. My goodness. very risky of Ethan to go down to 11 against a burn deck, especially because both those individual cards on the board at this moment, with the prowess triggers from both of them, and I don't know if prowess triggers double time. I might have to look. Oh, there's a dark rit from Ethan. He's got 3 black floating. Gonna reanimate, okay. But he's gonna grab back. I don't think there's any other haymakers in his yard that I remember of. Oh, he's grabbing Grief, okay. Grief's gonna ETB. Grief's ETB FX hoeing in. It's just a 2-2 as of right now. Looks like Paul's gonna respond with the incorrect tapping of a mountain from the one from the revealed of his hand, but he does have the mana for it. Looks like he's gonna bolt Ethan down to 8, which is actually a pretty respectable life total. Especially for the burn deck. This is kind of like, he got rid of his lava, I believe that's lava spike. So right now Paul has the 2-2 shaman in play, the 1-2 soul scar mage, and a mountain in hand. I think if he draws a bolt, he can get pretty close to closing out the game against Ethan, but he's gonna Ethan's going for an entomb with his so he used reanimate, and then he had one more black floating. He's gonna grab Archon of Cruelty, which is one of the modern haymakers that we see now in more reanimator or indomitable creativity decks. Yeah, look for Paul. I don't know if there's an out that he has here. Ethan could go Lotus Petal another Dark Red and do some more stuff. He's pitching Atraxa to the end of turn. Ooh, I like that Atraxa. Reanimator's got some spicy builds now, especially the ability to discard another Grizzlebrand, but that Legend Rule is going to prevent him from wanting to reanimate that. But Paul draws a burn spell off here. He can get 5 damage in if he would hit the Grief. Yeah, that's going to be a game 1. Game 1 goes to Ethan, Reanimator, and then let's see what happens for game 2. So as far as Paul goes, I don't know what he's going to have for game 2, but looks like most likely, if I think I know what Paul has in his sideboard, which is Leylines of the Void, he's going to desperately be going down to those. Alright. Players start off. I'm assuming Paul's going to be in the play here with his 3 Cheese Whiz deck, aka Burn, with some Flare. Alright, so Paul's taking a mulligan. He's going down to 6. I do like the Omniscient Angel playmat that Paul's rocking. That thing's from original Worldwake, and by that wear and tear on that damn playmat, it looks like he's got some love out of it. Alright. Let's see if Paul's 6 holds up to Ethan's 7. Well, looks like Paul's taking another mulligan again. Excuse the lag. After this round, we went to more recordings. That way it was more consistent. But it looks like Paul's going down to 5 here. By the aggressive mulligans, one of two things. He either had heinous hands where it's like 5 land 2 spells, which is just unplayable, or he's digging for a crucial sideboard card, which is most likely, if he's mono red, gonna be the Leyline of the Void. Again, Ethan kept his 7, so Paul's 5. Hopefully that's somewhat a contender against Ethan's 7. But again, Burn's probably got a difficult time trying to beat Grizzlebrand. If he's down like a Skullcrack variant, it's going to be difficult, even if he is. Oh no. Looks like Paul's going down to a 3rd mulligan. I think that's what that dice is representing. Yep, so it looks like he's definitely digging for something, because typically, unless you're a combo deck, it's very unlikely that going down to 4 is going to do you any good. Typically your 5 is whatever it may be, even if it's a 1-lander with 4 spells I'd rather keep. But in this scenario, it looks like he's digging for a Leyline of the Void. Alright, let's see if his 4 is acceptable. But yeah, overall with the matchup, Reanimator, if they just get like the turn 2 or turn 1, Grizzlebrand burns it in a horrible place just because they need a Skullcrack for when they connect with that Grizzlebrand. And if Ethan plays it safe, he can, keep his life total high. If he plays it risky, he can go down 7. But the Reanimator deck is so equipped with being able to discard with Unmasked Griefs, and sometimes they play Thoughtseize and things of that nature as well too, that they can avoid those plays of Skullcrack. All right, well, Paul kept his forward card hand and did not have a Leyline when Mountain Pass. All right, Ethan looks like he's cracking. I believe, yeah, that's a March Flats. Grabbing Badlands. Great looking deck, by the way, Ethan. A lot of alternate arts in there. So the Grizzlebrand Secret Layers, the Atraxa alternate art, and then a lot of the fetch lines look like they're alternate arts. Alright. What is the play that we're leading off with, Ethan? Ooh, a Lotus Petal. Pretty strong start. Another Unmask. Okay, discarding a or that's an Animate Dead. Alright, Paul's hand was, he played Mountain, Unmask, then he plays Exhume. Okay, I didn't see what was unmasked, but Archon of Cruelty is entering play, making Paul discard a card, lose 3 life. Ethan's going to gain 3 life, draw a card, and go up to 22. Plus, there's other effects of him having to sack, but I think Paul has no creatures and/or planeswalkers in play. He must have. Was it? Okay. Yep. Skewer the critics. All right. Sorry for the lag, guys. It's like I said. After this round, we went to just straight recordings just because it was pretty inconsistent. But Paul's going to use a Scalding Tarn to go get his second Mountain, which will put Paul at 16. Yeah, I just don't know if there's a way for Paul to get out of this match. He's reading the Archon. That's a handshake. That's a quick 2-0 for Ethan with Reanimator. Yeah, the guy was saying earlier, Burns' worst nightmare is probably Reanimator just because the heinous amount of discard spells and all the creatures that come into play with lifelink. He's showing us one of the sideboard Leylands of the Void, so it looks like when he was mulliganing, he was aggressively going down there. But alright, we're here for round 2 of Legacy FNM at Games Universe. Looks like we have Ian Newdecker that's on Death and Taxes versus Juan Morales. Sorry, I didn't put your last name in there. Who's on Maverick. And it looks like both players are taking a mulligan down to 6. So everything's nice and even. I'm not sure who won the die roll here. D&T with the nice spicy moms and Stoneforge Mythic and Cauldron completes, and then Juan's probably on a Green Sun Zenith list, most likely. Which you can go and then fetch for kind of haymakers in the matchup, such as Questing Beast and or Knight of the Reliquary. Alright, let's see if both players like their 6. Alright. So Ian looks like he's keeping his 6, and Juan's making his final decision on what he's going to put away, and both players are, here we go, we're starting off. Alright, Juan leads off with the Verdant Catacombs. He's going to fetch, go down to 19. grabs himself a Savannah. Seeing if I had to guess what his play is going to be, it's going to be a Bird's Paradise or some Mana Dork. Oh, nope, it's actually leading off with an Esper Sentinel. Plains Mother of Ruins. Eey, you're gonna have to get that off the board ASAP, Juan. Yeah, Esper Sentinel's probably not the best in this matchup since Death of D&T really only has 8 non-creature spells. Oh, Prismatic Ending. Okay. That's just as well. Oh, I missed. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Me just screwing up the controls. I thought that was the Swords of Plowshare, so I gave Ian an extra life, which is not true. He's currently at 20. But Juan leads off with a nice fancy forest and then attacks for 1, bringing Ian down to 19. I know it says 21, but I was going to say 20, but it's actually 19. All right. Thalia Thraben, which is pretty good against Green Sun Zenith, which can be annoying for Juan's deck. Plays a Bayou. Ooh, a Spirit Labyrinth. Or is it Labyrinth of the Spirit or Spirit of the Labyrinth? This is a 3-1 that no player can draw more than 1 card per turn. Oh, there's a Rashad Import out of Ian, and Ian's going to use the Recruit of the Grow with the trigger on the stack, and I'm sure he's going to be searching for... Oh, he's going for a Stoneforge Mystic. Alright. Spirit of the Labyrinth is not very good against a 2-1 first striker, and neither is Esper Sentinel. Alright. One taps 2. For a Collector Oof. That's one of the nice things about Maverick. They get to play some Silver Bullets in the main deck, which Collector Oof is one of those cards, so against the opposing Aether Vials, it can be quite strong. Oh, there's a Caracas, so you can do some neat tricks with that, especially if you want to bounce your Thalia after blocking a creature that's larger than it. And we see the Stoneforge that Ian went and fetched for, which is going to trigger, and then during he's passing the turn, and as he's searching, I have to imagine he's trying... Oh, he actually tapped Juan's white source, so Juan's left up with a black and green sources. Oh, there's a Horizon Canopy out of Juan. I'm getting back that white source. I'm assuming with the Stoneforge Mystic, it's going to be looking for a Cauldron Complete, just because... Yep, there it is. Cauldron Complete is just such a difficult card for Maverick to deal with. Prismatic Endings and Swords of Plowshares both deal with the germ aspect of it, but if you don't have either one of those answers, it's just a complete nightmare. 5/5 that basically doesn't care what your creatures say. Alright, so he gets to untap with the Stoneforge Mystic, which is pretty big, because I can't imagine any other play than just putting in Cauldron Complete, which should actually make it so we can see some life total changes. Alright, Stoneforge is being activated. Here comes the Cauldron Complete. Living Weapon trigger, and I believe Cauldron Complete gives 5/5 haste and trample, and also indestructible, and then the equipment itself is also indestructible. Oh, here, nice Exodia head, nice germ token. Alright, so we're coming in for 5. Juan blocks with the Collector Oof. It gets exiled due to the trigger off Cauldron's Complete, which puts Juan's life total at 16 after trample damage. And then again, Ian is tapping Juan's Black Source now on his upkeep, so leaving him just kind of stranded for just green-white, which usually there's not a lot of black spells in these decks. It's more or less if you can get his white sources, but is that Fiend Artisan? I can't remember that. I know what the card does. It's got double hybrid mana, and it kind of works as like a searching tool or a birthing pot effect. I think it's Fiend Artisan, but it's from Theros, or sorry, not Theros. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name. Anyways, oh, there's 5 mana for Ian, and then here comes another 5 damage off of the Cauldron Complete. Good job, Tony. Good job on that late life total change. So Juan's going to be taking an additional 4 because the trample is going to come through. Yeah. If Juan didn't draw the answer soon, it looks like he's going to be quickly ran over. Oh, another Stoneforge Mystic? Yikes. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. Alright. I like how the pace of play these guys are playing at is phenomenal. I love it. I believe that's the equipment that gains the initiative, and then it has basically flavor text, but it's a 4-mana equipment with ETBs gains initiative, and then also the other flavor text on it is if a creature would be blocked, its controller takes 2 life, something along those lines. Just the only part that's really relevant on that card is the initiative. So Juan being at 12, he's got a couple tiny creatures. Oh, there's a Verdant Catacomb. He looks like he's had a long drawn string of lands here. All right, he's fetching, going down to 11. I can't really think of a scenario where Juan gets out of this, just because there's an overwhelming board presence, and it looks like Ian on his turn is going to be taking the initiative, and also keeping Juan off of Black Source. Even though he got the Verdant Catacombs, I don't know if this deck plays more than a singular Bayou. Usually Maverick is... Oh, there's the second Savannah. Yeah, sometimes they play a scrub land to kind of mix it up, but looks like Juan's list, either the black man is not relevant to him, or this list doesn't have a scrub land. Green Sun Zenith for 2, it looks like, is the Thalia tax trigger. Oh, that might have been a misplay. Okay, that shouldn't. Maybe that was a play that wasn't supposed to happen, due to he went to go grab Grist, which again was not a legal play. So, well, but it happened. It happened. Grist making the pass token, milling for 1. Yeah, with the Thalia in play, I think he has to pay an additional 1, and it can't be contributed to the X. It has to be green 1 and then 2. But I could be mistaken on that. Alright, Stoneforge Mystic probably putting in that torch. Yep, Ian's now gained the initiative. Mind you, you don't see Yorion, but this is Yorion Death and Taxes, so there is a Yorion off to the side, which I'll probably fix the camera at some point. Got the initiative, going to get a basic plains or basic land. For those of you that haven't got the opportunity or had the chance to play its initiative, it's miserable. It's a bad experience, but it is a legacy issue that we as legacy players have to play. So he equips the calls are complete, because I believe the equip cost is 1 onto the germ token, which is represented by Exodia. Yep, so he's going to take 2 from the torch, going down to 8, and then also takes an additional 4 because of the pass token. So he should. I'm not very good at making life totals. All right, Juan scoops it up, and it looks like they're going into a game 2. Ian takes game 1 with a nice hefty Cauldron complete. One of the best parts about live Magic is you do get to see some mishaps and some mistakes happen, and that's a-okay, especially because it's at the FNM level. So, you know, nobody's here out for blood, you name it. Oh, look at that, I fixed the camera angle. And you can see that little Yorion peeping over there. So, as you can see, those nice quick little cuts, so we can skip them shuffling and sideboarding. And here we go, we're on to game 2. Alright, are they going to keep their 7? Alright, looks like Juan is dipping back in, going down to 6, and looks like Ian's happy with his 7. After some cool shuffling and some camera magic, we were able to cut out all the shuffling. And let's see if Juan ends up happy with his 6. Let's hope so, right? Alright, so Juan's going to lead us off with the Windswept Heath, going down to 19. Can't imagine anything but a Savannah coming into play. But, oh, a Bayou. Interesting. Oh, and a Noble Hierarch. Okay, that would explain the white source. Alright, there you go. Ooh, Plains Pass. Okay. So, Juan's actually out to a pretty quick start here, being able to go up to 3 mana, see if he has a 3 mana follow-up play. Alright, plays a Wasteland, which in this matchup is not the greatest. Alright, he's going to tap the Bayou for another Noble Hierarch. Ooh, gotta love to see it when Noble Hierarch comes in there for the damage and hitting it for a nice hefty 2. Oh, never mind. Take that back. That didn't happen. He just cast for an Esper Sentinel. Alright, 2 mana from Ian. Oh, we got a Stoneforge trigger coming in, so I have to imagine it's going to be a repeat of last time where he just goes and grabs a Cauldron Complete. The question is, does Juan have the answer? If he's able to get this Stoneforge Mystic off and strand the Cauldron Complete in Ian's hand, I think it gives Juan a fighting chance, especially because that was a non-play. If Juan had the removal spell, I think it would have snapped off. It doesn't look like he has it in this particular situation. I wish my hands were big enough to shuffle a Yorion deck, but I won't play Yorion in paper ever again. Now that it's not a modern thing. Alright, looks like Esper Sentinel is coming in for 3, bringing Ian down to 17. Ooh, a Grist. Alright, that's pretty nice. That's a way to get rid of the Stoneforge. Sacking the tapped Noble Hierarch. Okay. So, alright. No Cauldron Complete from Ian. For the Death and Taxes, a pretty slow start. No 1-drop and no Aether Vial in play. And that looks like a fancy Field of Ruin. Oh, it's going after the Bayou. Okay. Gonna strand Juan off of black. Does Juan not have a basic land in his deck? I can't believe that. Okay. Alright, that's what I thought. I was like, there's no way. And then the follow-up play is going to grab and put Tap of Plains, the one that came in off the Field of Ruin, for a Aether Vial. Nice. Alright. Alright. Let's see what Juan untaps and does here. So this is all at the end of his turn, and now this is coming back to Juan's turn. Alright, he draws. Let's see what he's got. Juan's actually in a pretty commanding position here. He can start putting in the beats. Ooh, a 3rd Noble Hierarch, so now and a Pest Token coming on in. So we actually have some pretty good life totals here. Discarding a Swords to Plowshare, which could be irrelevant at some point. That's the nice fancy Ultra one, but another 3 goes to Ian, bringing him down to 14. Now it's Ian's turn. He's got that Vial on 1 and 3 planes. That Wasteland's looking pretty lonely over on Juan's side. It's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be able to hit like a Crocus or a Rashad Import at some point. So that's, oh, there's a Crocus there. Skyclave Apparition. Yeesh. Goodbye, Grist. Man, that card is such a powerhouse, and with cards like Recruiter Guard being able to find it, Death and Taxes has got some serious upgrades over the last couple of years, especially with, I mean, Skyclave Apparition has made like cards like Dread of Night kind of non-existent in Legacy anymore, just because you have a main deck answer to deal with those cards. Alright, so back to Juan's turn. He draws Horizon Canopy. He's going to send with the Pest Token, it looks like. 3/3 Insect coming in. Alright, Ian goes down to 11. Aether Vial goes to 2. Oh, it's Ian's turn. Ooh, Ian just drew the Solitude, which is going to be probably a make or break play, and he's got 5 active mana. Yikes. Ooh, he responds with a Solitude. And I have to imagine that if I was that's percent, okay, I would have targeted a Noble Hierarch just to reduce the damage, but either way, probably a great play. Juan's got a Sorcerer's Plowshare, so right now Juan should be at 20, which is correct, and then also Ian's going to go up to 4. Is it toughness? So it's 13, I believe. No, it's power. It's 14. I don't know why I thought it was toughest. Maybe I think of cards like Condemn. Alright, the pass is coming back in for 3 again. Juan leads off with his draw step and then ends up playing a Verdant Catacomb and then attacking for 3. Looking at his graveyard. Passes the turn back to Ian. Now Ian's got that Aether Vial on 3, which is the actual sweet spot, just because there's so much tech at the 3 spot, which Crit of the Guard, being able to go find a Solitude and or Stoneforge and or Skyclave Apparition if needed. And also, I don't know if these lists still play Flicker Wisp, but I can't imagine they don't play a 1-of, just because these 80 card piles have just so much flexibility in there. Oh, he's gonna put Yorion into hand. Yorion and Karakas is a pretty interesting interaction, just being able to re-blink those things over and over and over. Ian is now passing the turn after casting a Mother of Ruins. Juan's gonna take a fetch land, going down to 19, but with that Aether Vial on 3, it's incredibly dangerous. Juan just goes and fetches and looks for a Savannah. Sacks the Horizon Canopy. I wonder what he's looking for. Okay. Juan's contemplating. These Null Hierarchs have put in some serious damage this game. Just being able to buff Pest and or Esper Sentinels. Alright, coming in for 3 one more time. Gets Ian at down to 8. Tapping 3 from Juan's side. Keeping a white up, which is relevant. Green Sun for 2. Alright, Ian's checking his graveyard. If he suspects a Collector Oath, I think you're going to want to activate the Aether Vial. Or you could just ignore it. Alright, so Juan shuffles the Green Sun back in. He's looking for a creature. And he grabs the card from, it's one of the werewolves, but you can, the front side you can, it's a 2/2 I believe, and you can sack it. It's essentially like a different version of Qasali Pride Mage, just doesn't have Exalted. And the flip side, the night side, is when it attacks, destroy, I think it's attack, or when it deals damage to a combat player, but it's a 3/3. Yeah, and then Ian responds to the sack trigger of the werewolf by dropping in a Sanctum Prelate. And a Sanctum Prelate is currently on 1, which is going to turn off any future Swords of Plowshares from 1. Alright, the beats are coming right back. And now that he's got that Mother of Ruins active and ready to block, here comes another Aether Vial, and then Ian's going to pass the turn, which should leave him with 2 or 3 cards, but one of those cards we know is the Yorion that, way more than that. One of those cards is the Yorion that he picked up. Okay. Esper Sentinel. Okay. Esper Sentinel is a rough card to have in this matchup, I can tell you that for one. It just doesn't, there's just not a lot of interaction or play that he gets to have from it unless he's able to equip it, but I don't think he's on a Stoneforge variant, or at least I don't think. Doesn't look like it. Alright, passing back to Ian. Ian looks like he just drew a Skyclave Apparition with his Aether Vial now taking up to 1. Yeah, here comes his. Alright, no more Sentinel. And here comes the beats. Another 4 coming through. I don't think Juan's in a position to block, and if he was, you'd gladly probably trade with that Sanctum Prelate, but Juan takes the 4, goes 11. Juan's turn, draws a card. Another Hierarch. Oh, that's an Ignoble Hierarch, so I was going, dang, you got a 4 of a kind, but no. That's the other one. The Bizarro Noble Hierarch, if you will. Alright, just plays that and passes. But that Mother of Ruins is sitting there being able to hold off the force. This is going to be pretty brutal. Alright, here comes another 6. Blocks the Sanctum Prelate with the 1/1. pest token. I wonder if they'll ever do like a reverse version of Exalted where it's for blocking. If this card blocks alone, it gets Alright, so Juan's going to take 4 more damage, going down to 7. Yeah, it's looking a little grim for Juan. Alright. Looks like he's tapping for a Plague Engineer, which does handle that Mother of Ruins. I wonder if, I don't know what he named, but he's either human or cleric, because I think Mother of Ruins is one of each. Stoneforges puts in a, or he taps the Aether Vial, putting in a Stoneforge. It's going to be College Complete. I was like, ooh, an Umezawa's Jitte. Didn't see that one coming. I mean, a Jitte just completely wipes the floor with Juan. Just gets to eat up all of his mana dorks. It's got to be, mana dork's worst nightmare is to see the Umezawa's Jitte. Alright, so Ian's going to untap with a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of mana. Ian draws a Wasteland. Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, he drew a hit, just naturally drew the College of Complete. There's that nice fancy Exodia token that's going to be dealing some serious damage. Wasteland coming in. And the team is coming. Yep, even the Sanctum Prelate. So, Juan's being at 7 is going to be some tough blocks here, because whether you cut it, that 5 is coming through. I mean, you can block, but you only have a 1 toughness and a 2 toughness. Your best bet is try to get everything off the board, right? Okay. Okay, so I think the Prelate might be a 1/1. Because if he named Human... yeah, so currently with the Plague Engineer, the Sanctum Prelate is a 1/1. It looks like lethal on the board, but it's actually a 1 short due to Plague Engineer. Well, depends on where you Juan ends up blocking. Okay. As long as he doesn't block the first strike, to give that additional damage. Okay, so he's going to block there. It looks like the Skyclaves are going to trade off. Juan's going to get a 3/3 and a 1/1 due to the leaves the battlefield trigger from Skyclave, and 6 damage came through with Sanctum and Culture Complete, leaving Juan at 1. But a 3/3 and a 1/1's not bad. And Ian only being at 8, that 3/3 comes in and sends, it's dealing 6 damage, but again, I can't imagine Ian not having any answers for that. Juan draws. Okay, he's contemplating. Alright, that's the match, alright. Alright, so it looks like Ian takes it down with Death and Taxes 2-0 to Maverick. Alright, we're here for round 3 of Legacy FNM, and we got a pretty nice matchup here with Blue-Red Murktide versus 8-Cast. Looks like Kevin is on Blue-Red Murktide, and Constantine, I'm going to say your name wrong, so I'm just going to call you Con Man for now. Alright. A little bit of technical difficulties on my end, because I believe I'm trying to fit all of his name onto the screen, but looks like Kevin kept his 7, and looks like Con Man is going down to 6. So this is the first time I've seen a Legacy match post-ban of Expressive Iteration. I'm genuinely curious to see if the Blue-Red Murktide deck is going to be as strong as it was. Obviously, it got a downgrade, but kind of see what they put in place. Most likely, I have to assume that the Mishra Bauble / Predict plan is in this deck. It could be bad, but I'd like to see what that could do if this is existing in there. If not, most likely that deck probably upped its amount of Mishra's Baubles at the very least. Alright, Con Man is going down to number 6, or is going down to his mulligan of 6. See if he likes this. Oh, yep, he's keeping the 6, and Kevin's showing us that nice force of will that he's ready to fire off. But all right, Command's leading off with a pretty strong start of Island, Bauble, Mishra's Bauble, Mishra's Bauble, and Lotus Pebble. Or, not Pebble. Lotus Pebble. I don't know why I keep saying that. Lotus Petal, and then he's passing the turn. So down to 2 cards already. All right, let's see what Kevin's gonna lead off with. A Bauble himself, so within 1 turn of the game, 3 Baubles are in play. And he's targeting himself, taking a look at his top card. Alright. Can't do anything with it other than look at the top card, so yeah, he's going to go from there. These are the Volcanic. And a nice Delver of Secrets. Me adjusting stuff in the background. It can be a little obnoxious. Gotta get this a little cleaner, but yep. Like Command when draw go. Oh, he went. Oh. No, I take that back. He didn't go draw go. He went. Looks like he's got 7 mana worth of spells, but he's gonna go Ancient Tomb, taking down 2, casting a Thought Monitor with affinity of 3, and then also using a Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal and like affinity working simultaneously is a bizarre thing, but it's a deck. Once you declare a spell, it goes from there. But it looks like it's gonna get Dazed, which I thought was a Force Will during my acting of that, but Kevin should still be at 20. Kevin's got that Volcanic Island at the bottom showing that as revealed, just so you guys are aware that is not in play. Kevin's then looking at the top part of his library, and it's a DRC, which does not flip the Delver. Ooh, leads with the Wasteland. Yeah, he's just showing it as revealed. Yep, okay. So that card, that Volcanic, just to verify, that's not in play. Most likely he's just going to Wasteland the Ancient Tomb. Yep. Reducing 8 casts' amount of mana. 8 casts is one of those decks that can have one of the most explosive starts, but if you're not chaining the cast part of the deck, not much is going on, but Kevin does get in for 1 and brings Command down to 17. Ooh, and there's a Saga. Alright. Coming in with that first chapter. And passes the turn, so Command being at 1 card. Alright. Flips a Force of Will, which is going to make that Delver into a 3/2 and start a real beat stick real fast. Putting it down there as revealed cards again. Another Wasteland. Going to target that Urza Saga, kind of putting Command back another turn and then getting in for a nice 3, bringing him down to 14. And again, Kevin should be at 20, but I thought that Daze, somehow I misread that Daze earlier in the match. Alright, so he's gonna, looks like he's popping these Baubles. Gonna look at Kevin's top card, which looks like, if it looks like a Brainstorm. And then on his turn he's gonna draw 2. Trying to keep his affinity as high as possible. Alright, another Urza Saga. And passing the turn. Okay. So Kevin draws that Brainstorm. I think Kevin's finally gonna put a land in play. There you go. There's that Volcanic Island from turn 1. And leads up with the Dragon Rage Channeler. And we'll get in for 3. Bringing Command down to 11. Now he's got the Saga that's finally on 2 with a follow with a Mox Opal and a Seed of the Synod. That's the nice one from, I believe, the dual deck, or not the dual deck, the commander decks that came out with the Brothers War. And he's just going to lead off by making a construct, which is currently a 4/4. Draws. Kevin does not have Delirium. It looks like he's got a artifact, instant, and land in there. Losing the expressive iteration in this matchup, so you went down in sorceries. From 4 ponder, 4 expressive, just down to your 4 ponders can make it difficult. But Kevin's going for the fetch. I'm gonna put a Vulcan play, bringing him down to 18. Nope, 19, I lied. He's at 19. I'm looking at the previous life total. He should have been at 19 the whole time. Now he casts Ponder, which is going to trigger the DRC, also putting that sorcery into the graveyard, which is going to activate Delirium. Or make the dragon, the DRC delirious, if you will. And have two 3-power flyers in the air, and with Conman being at 11, it's going to be a very close game. Or I shouldn't say close game. It's going to probably put him in a very dire spot where I can't imagine that Saga going to get anything other than a Shadow Spear. But even then, if he ends up making a construct, he won't have enough mana to do that. But here comes 6 in the air, bringing Conman down to 5. And Kevin with that known information of Force Will that Conman can see. Alright. So he's got the trigger on the stack, deciding what to do with it. If he ends up activating it for a construct, I can't imagine him going to grab a Shadow Spear just because the Shadow Spear is equipped as 2. Okay. So he does get another construct, which is going to bring his team up to a total of 5 5s. And with the additional artifact coming into play, it's going to be 6. So if he draws another land, any land, he has the ability to equip it, because he obviously hasn't played a land this turn yet. Yep, okay, he did go grab Shadow Spear. Shadow Spear giving +1/+1 lifelink and trample makes that card so powerful, just because you can search it. It's got some other flavor text of removing hexproof and or indestructibility, but you know, that may come up once in a blue moon once you're playing Baleful Strix versus a Dark Depths token that you need to kill. Leads off with an Ancient Tomb. He goes down to 3. Does Kevin have the bolts to put him out of his misery? Equips to the active non-summoning sick construct. And attempting to cast a Pithy Needle to bring that thing up to 8. Kevin, how is he going to respond to a Pithy Needle? I guess Kevin's going in the tank here. I wonder if it's worth countering the Pithy Needle to bring those constructs down to it. Well, at least the one that's equipped to a 7/7. And he's going to do that by pitching a Force, or pitching Force to Force. Oh, didn't do that. Contemplating. Alright, he's pitching Force to Force. Alright. So it's going to bring that down to 18. Total of 7 power on the active Golem. 7's coming in, which is a pretty big life swing. You're going to bring Kevin down to 11 and then Conman up to 10. Alright. Ooh, there's a bolt there, which is 1 short of closing out this game. But right now, Kevin's currently got 9 damage as a whole, 6 of it being on the board, 3 of it being in his hand. Kevin's going in the tank, it looks like. Where to direct that bolt? I think the play I would make is I would lead with a bolt and see what my top card was off the DRC, and then based on that make a decision. Okay. Looks like he's gonna lead with a brainstorm. Maybe it's correct. I think it's actually probably correct to probably lead with that brainstorm. Give a chance to see 4 cards, make a better decision whether or not to leave the Delver back, but he's gonna oh, I think he didn't scry. Oh, there's the other bolt. Okay. He's got a minor misstep, which is probably okay in this matchup, assuming if Kevin gets to be in the play. If he's in the draw, it's pretty miserable. Putting Wasteland and another card back. Not sure what the other one was. All right. Alright, so Kevin's going to lead for another 6 damage. The DRC has to attack, so you can't really hold anything back there. But, I mean, you're just in a race mode. With that bolt, you know you can kind of close that game out. The downside is he's got to make sure that the DRC that is in his hand has got to survive. So he's bringing Command down to 4. And then he's going to lead off with the DRC. This is actually a very good line that Kevin took here. Now he can block the non-trampling golem, because currently the other one is a trampler. Land Emery. Alright. Emery enters the fray here, which doesn't add anything to the artifact count. But if the future turns, Mills, Chalice, Mox, and Urza's Bauble, all good hits. Emery's going to be able to bring those things back up. The power and toughness hasn't changed on those constructs, so we got a 7/7 and a 6/6 still. Kevin has to block or he's going to die, and if he blocks the trample one, he's 100% dead. Yeah, DRC is going to end up blocking the non-equipped token, and then most likely Kevin's going to go down to 4. Bringing Con Man up to 11 again. So Kevin's at 4 and Con's at 11. Again, the explosiveness of the A-cast deck can be pretty ridiculous. Alright. Draws a Brainstorm. Does he have 2 bolts? Okay. Looks like he's coming in for 6. Bringing Command down to 5. And, yep, looks like that's going to close the game. Brings us down to 2. He's hellbent. And, nice. There's a pretty tight game between that. So, I think with the current blue-red Murktide list, most likely he's just going to go up 4 to 5 Pyroblast and then really put the A-cast deck in place, because one of the ways that the A-cast deck has the ability to win is being able to put that guy that has Ward 4 down, Kappa Cannoneer, and then blue-red Delver just is like never going to kill that thing if it's resolved, just because Ward 4 is so powerful. So you got to be able to interact with that thing on the stack. Alright, so game 2, Kevin's up 1. Leads off the seed, Lotus Petal. Diving the seed. Go right for an Emery. Turn 1 Emery is so powerful. It resolves no response from putting in a Thought Monitor, a Mox Opal into the graveyard. Oh, there's an Urza's Bauble. Another Lotus Petal, a Mox Opal, and leaving Command down to 1 card. Again, one of the things with A-cast is so explosive. Mishra's Bauble from Kevin. He then plays a fetch land. Fetch is going down to 19. Can't imagine it being anything other than volcanic. I think these decks play one basic. If that, I don't know if the new lists are still four Volks and one Steam Vents. Ooh, plays a Lightning Bolt dealing with Emery, which is a good call because that Thought Monitor it had to be coming into play that turn. Draw off the bauble. Okay. Now it's Comman's turn. Plays a additional Urza's Bauble. Now you get to see the magnificent world of Urza's Bauble, where he reveals a card at random. 1 through 6. Looks like we saw 3. Ooh, that's a pretty nice looking Brazen Borrower. So he reveals the Brazen Borrower. And then he's going to activate that second Urza's Bauble, which they're going to shuffle up again and see what they reveal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably roll a dice one more time. It's again 3 and another Brazen, back-to-back Brazen Borrower. All right. He's gonna untap. Wasteland wouldn't be the worst play to make here, just to strip that Seed of the Synod from Constant. Alright, nails him. Does he have any 1-drops to play? Doesn't look like it. He is holding a bolt, I can see. Yep, there's the Delver of Secrets. Get some action on the board here. Here we go. Another Seed of the Synod. Tap that, play a Thought Cast with Affinity of 4, so 1 minute draw 2, no problemo. Kevin's got a counterbalance in his hand, which isn't probably the worst, especially with this deck having so many zeros and being able to just keep a land on the top of your deck off Brainstorms and DRCs, and just being able to counter all of their Lotus Petals, all of their Mox Opals. Second Volcanic from Kevin. Gets in for 1. Got the old he's got a Murktide in hand. Yikes, it's going to be coming down and doing some big old damage. But the score is even up at 1919. That looks like an Otowaru. And that's a Psy Master Thopterus. So if you can get the ball rolling on that, it's just going to be lights out. He's going to cast a Brainstorm. Looks like with Psy on the stack. 2, 3. He did draw a Pyroblast and another Brazen Borrower, and I think that third card looks like a Ponder. Now he's got no lands, and he's gonna be landlocked. Or sorry, his next draws are determined since we know what they are. I should take that back. Most likely Ponder is going to change that. So that resolves. No, it does not look like it resolves. It gets hit. Psy gets hit with a Pyroblast. So I believe in this situation, I remember that Kevin, just so you guys know, this is Kevin's first time ever playing Legacy, and he's got a Delver trigger on the stack, and I believe the card that he put on top was a Brazen Borrower, and he's asking if the Brazen Borrower can be revealed to the Delver, which with how Adventure works, it doesn't matter what is on the side. It just, everything that is not that Adventure box is the framework of the card, meaning that if Brazen Borrower is a creature, it does not reveal to Delver as a instant and or sorcery, regardless of the adventure. So, yep, so we got a judge ruling on that. It was just for clarification for Kevin. Again, Cut him some slack. This is the first time he's ever played Legacy. He is playing, I believe, a borrowed deck. Decides to reveal it. All right. The Delver is just lonely, just staying as a 1/1. It looks like Kevin is going to cast a Ponder, which I'm surprised he doesn't try to attempt to get the counterbalance in. Look at the top three. I believe one of those cards should be a Murktide. Can't see it exactly, but if Kevin has the ability to get a Murktide down sooner than later, it'd be in his best interest. Looks like he's likes all three. Looks like all action spells. Gets that sorcery in the graveyard. And then he's going to attack for 1, bringing Conman down to 18. Alright. Urza's Saga, which is going to get some much needed action from Conman. Then he's going to tap those. Looks like he's improvising for Kappa Cannoneer. Does Kevin have the Force of Will? Probably not. So if this Kappa Cannoneer enters the battlefield with Ward 4, it's just not a real possibility for the Murktide deck to get there. He's going to have 2 additional lands plus the actual spell to cast. So 5 mana just to be able to Pyroblast that thing. That is Delver's worst nightmare. And it comes in as a 5/5 because the ETB does trigger on itself. But when an artifact, oh, there goes there goes Delver's Secrets flipping over. When it comes to Kappa Cannoneer, every time an artifact comes into play, it does give it a 1/1 counter and makes it unblockable for the turn. So Delver is ready and raring to go, finally. Looks like we're gonna play a Brainstorm. Yeah, with Brainstorm being a Brainstorm format, you just never want to keep those out in the open just because you pick them up, you might be able to put 2 of them back, who knows. So you don't want to exactly tell your opponent exactly what you're picking up. So at this point, I think Kevin should pick up both Brazen Borrowers, at least not to tell information that, you know. Alright, go ahead and show both, alright. Plays a Flooded. Yeah, because in a sense, that Brazen Borrower is no longer public knowledge because it could have been shuffled away. So at any point, Kevin can decide to put that in his hand and not have it be open. But typically when you play a Brainstorm, you should pick them up because it's just going to change what is and isn't public information. Grabbing another Volcanic. And with that Volcanic, I can't imagine any other play. Oh, his first is dealing 3 with the Delver of Secrets, bringing him down to 15. And big old murky time. And Conman is ready to pitch that Capaneer to then force the hell out of that card. Kevin going to 17 from his Force of Will. A little eager on it, Conman, just because Kevin hasn't officially changed what he's delving, but most likely he's probably going to keep Delirium, or at least attempt to keep it Delirium. So when he draws an additional DRC, it can come in as either a 3/3 right off the get-go or what, but that Murktide is gone. Alright, let's see what Conman's going to draw here. He does have a 5/5 in play with Ward 4, and he's going to have an active Urza's Saga because that second token, or that second dice is going to be on it, so he's going to be able to make that Capaneer unblockable at the very least. So, which looks like that's what he's doing. Now Capaneer goes up to a 6 counter and is now unblockable. Has another spell to cast, which is a Thought Cast, such a powerful draw. 1, 2. A Odowaru, which is going to legend rule the other Odowaru. Cast another Thought Cast, yep. Just kind of refueling the hand. Playing a Lotus Petal that's going to trigger the Kappa Cannoneer again. Sacking that Lotus Petal for an Emery. And it looks like he missed the Emery trigger of milling the top 4, which was not caught during gameplay, but Kevin does take 7 from that Cappaneer, bringing him down to 11. And again, he's got a real problem with the Cappaneer. And I think Kevin's actually trying to get to a board state where he's able to play a 2 consecutive lands, being a fetch land and whatever, and then a Pyroblast with a Cappaneer. Because if that's not going to be the play, I don't know how Kevin can catch up in this game. But with an active Urza Saga, that's going to make another token that's going to make the Cappaneer an 8/8, and then also the ETB off the Urza Saga's 3rd chapter, which is going to bring in something else, whatever that may be. Most likely, if I had to guess, it's going to be a Shadow Spirit to then give the Construct trample again. That's probably going to be game if that's going to be the play that looks like. Wasteland is huge here, being able to hit that Urza Saga. So now Comman's got to be able to draw another artifact, which I believe he's hellbent. And if he draws another artifact, obviously the game's going to probably just end right there and then. But Kevin's in the tank again. Looks like he's debating or not if he should cast the Brainstorm. But with his current state of cards, I don't know if he has any other option. And him using that Wasteland was a key point, but again, it doesn't deal with the Cappaneer. The Kappa. He's in a real rough spot here. Kevin's 2 that's going back. Is he going to attack for 3? He has an opportunity to block that Cappaneer or that Kappa Cannoneer, assuming that Command does whiff, but the amount of artifacts that are played in the deck is just so unlikely. Alright, he does come in and connect for 3. Kevin then leads up, follows that up after in his main phase 2 by casting a DRC and lightning bolting the Emery to prevent any future Thought Knots. And that's a nice play by nice. Another Lotus Petal, making that thing unblockable. Here comes the beats. DRC has to block the Construct if Kevin wants to live, and he is taking a nice clean 8, which will put Kevin at 3. Alright. Still does not change the issue that he has with the, again, Conman being able to draw an artifact or have the ability to just stack with 2 creatures that are just so large. I mean, Kevin can get one more draw phase, but even then he's got to go runner into land and another land and a red elemental blast or pyroblast of some sort to be able just to interact with that Kappa Cannoneer. He's way too far from being able to adventure that thing up. It's just Ward 4 is just basically hexproof in Legacy. It's the same thing. Every now and then a blue-white deck is able to cast a Sword Sploshers or be able to Solitude before. Okay, he's gonna bounce the thing now. Yeah, I don't know if there's a way out of this. Wasteland, pass. He's making the play that he's got and he's going to need to make, but an artifact comes into play. Alright, that's that. On to game 3. A-Cask is won that last round, and again you get to see some of the explosiveness of that, and now they're heading into game 3. Let's see if these guys both keep their 7. Looks like Conman is going back down to 6, or he's mulliganing to 6, and then Kevin's going to keep his 7. Is Conman going to be happy with his 6? He's putting one back and they're off, and then Kevin's going to lead with a bauble. The classic target myself with the bauble. And Volk say go. Then Conman's turn, he draws. Leads with an Ancient Tomb, which is probably one of the more powerful starts. Mishra's bauble into Urza's bauble into Mox Opal. My goodness, he's got all the affinity into a turn 1 Psy, which is met with the Pyroblast. Wow. Okay. Kevin seems to be going in the tank for something. Alright, he's going to look to draw, then draw off the bauble. Okay, I see what happened there. Wasteland, getting that Ancient Tomb off the board, which should strip him going from 3 mana to 1, which is pretty relevant against the 8-cast deck that needs a lot of mana. Looks like he's got an additional Pyroblast in hand. Probably going to hold that up for a long period amount of the game just to deal with any potential Cap Cannoneers. Conman then plays a Urza Saga, which is followed up after shortly with a Thought Cast, which is then met with a Pyroblast. Alright, just keeping his resources low and his availability. Kevin now draws a Murktide Regent, which I think he's one short from being able to cast, but then plays a Ponder. Then follows that up with a Delver of Secrets, and hopefully Kevin set himself up for the draw on the Delver. Looks like Urza Saga is going to be on 2. I followed up with a second Urza Saga by Conman. So he's got 1 and 1. One's on 1 counter, another one's on 2. He's just going to make a Construct. And probably just say go. We're flipping Delver to the 3rd Pyroblast. My goodness. And then looks... I like how Kevin's showing the Pyroblast just to assert his authority, but he is going to play a Murktide, which is going to use the full Delve and get rid of his entire graveyard, making that Murktide a 6/6. Yeah. Alright, now there's a lot of thought to go here with that, but most likely, no, looks like Conman is going to just float the mana from the Urza Saga, go and fetch. In this situation, I have to assume he would go and grab a Aether Spellbomb to be able to put that Murktide back in his head, kind of, put the Murktide back in his hand to kind of reset this. Yeah. Doesn't look like that's what he's going to grab, but in the case that his deck still has the one of Aether Spellbomb, that's probably what's going to be dropping here and then pushing that Murktide away. Does not, looks like he went to grab a Shadow Spear, which isn't the worst play, because that Shadow Spear is going to be able to make that Golem into a 6/6. which has the ability to trade and also gain a massive amount of life. Tap another one. Looks like a Kappa Cannoneer is coming down because he's improvising. Oh, nope, never mind. Roll back. Okay, now it looks like, yep, he's got enough. A Capaneer is coming down. Kevin's shields are down because he does not have a red for that revealed Pyroblast. A resolve, he goes up to 5. Now the Capaneer's up to 6. Sacking that Lotus Petal. Then equipping that Capaneer. My goodness. This deck can be so explosive. Alright. So Kevin currently has 9 damage on the board, which, you know, if he had the double bolt like he did earlier, he's going to be able to close out this game. Alright, coming in for 9. Bringing Command down to 6. Alright, Fetch. Yep. Fetch going down to 19. Looks like he's got the double bolts. It looks like they're doing a little bit of a shortcut, but he's going to fetch, and he hasn't resolved his fetch yet. He's got to go get the Volcanic, and that should be the game. Alright. Kevin takes down round 3 of Legacy FNM with Blue-Red Murktide at 2-1. Alright, we're here with round 4 of our Legacy FNM, the final round, which are Kevin with Blue-Red Murktide versus Ian Newdecker, that is on Death and Taxes. These are both the undefeateds, and we're going to see how this plays out. Looks like Kevin and Ian both kept their hands, and Kevin led off with Volcanic Island DRC. And Ian went turn 1, Plains, Aether Vial. Alright. So again, Wasteland is going to be pretty tough against the Death and Taxes match. They do have some relevant targets such as Rashad Import and Caracas, but of those other 2 cards, there's really not a lot to target, so Wasteland could be a weird niche card in this matchup for the Blue-Red Murktide player. But Kevin coming in for 1, which is going to bring Ian down to 19. Don't mind the life totals again, I didn't reset them from the last round, but Kevin should be at 20. Alright, so Ian plays a Wasteland and ends up destroying the Volcanic Island, leaving Kevin with the Singular Wasteland and a DRC, and then follows that up with a Mother of Ruins and his Aether Vial on 1. Alright, Kevin untaps, draws, and he's got a Wasteland to play and a DRC. It attacks to the DRC, bringing Ian down to 18. And passes the turn with only a Wasteland in play. Ian then Aether Vials another Mother of Ruins into play at the end of turn, then untaps and draws, putting his Aether Vial on 2, putting his second Plains, and passing the turn. Ooh, Kevin then top decks a Scalding Tarn, bringing some life back to him in this game. If he were to miss a land that turn, I don't know if he has any capability of putting himself in a winning position any longer. Kevin's fetching. The consideration here might be go get an island if you're in fear of an additional Wasteland. I wouldn't want to get Wasteland locked, especially because this deck already plays 18 lands only, and typically with blue-red, of those lands, 4 of them are Wastelands, so you really don't have a lot of mana that stays in play that's colored. But I think Kevin's looking for the island and is playing the island. I believe I saw a Brainstorm that was in Kevin's hand a little bit earlier, so with that, if he's going to use the Brainstorm Pretty much getting the island ensures that he's going to have capability to grab or play ponders and brainstorms throughout this matchup. Whereas grabbing a volcanic leaves him susceptible to so many other plays. But again, brainstorm is going to trigger, which also triggers the DRC that's in play. And looks like he's going to draw the 3 cards, which is Volcanic, Delver, and Scalding Tarn, which actually is going to set Kevin up pretty nicely this match, now that he's going to have ability to get red multiple times. The only caveat is he's going to have to deal with the double Mother of Ruins, and once those things are active, just your bolts and all your removals for kind of some of the key pieces that you need to take care of are just going to be out of reach, because now the Mother of Ruins have double protection on not only themselves, but any other future creature that is a must answer after resolution is just going to be guaranteed in, and he's got an Aether Vial now currently on 3. Oh, there's a Rashad import. He's going to upkeep, tap your only island. Yep. Alright. This is where the taxes come into play, of Death and Taxes. For those of you that haven't had the ability or chance to play against Death and Taxes, some of the times this deck can be it's one of the more grindy decks, and it can be such a headache in long games just because they will wear you down with Wastelands and Rashad imports and beat you with dopey little 1/1s. But now with the recent variation of Yorion and Solitudes and Recruiters of the Guard, they have a lot easier way of either tutoring up the exact piece they need, whether it be a Stoneforge Mystic or anything, or a Skyclave Apparition to kind of win that game. But alright, on Kevin's turn, he plays a Volcanic Island and then taps for a Delver of Secrets. Ian then responds at the end of turn with an Aether Vial, tapping and putting in a Recruiter of the Guard, which Recruiter of the Guard is probably going to go get, the Dastardly Stoneforge Mystic, and if that resolves, that could be some serious bad news for Kevin. Though I believe Blue-Red has the Brazen Borrower in the deck to be able to bounce potential Germ tokens, but again, with the different types of equipment you can go and grab. That Glare card that you see there, that's just a Yorion. That has been yet to be picked up. Alright, looks like Ian's tapping 2 to cast that Stoneforge Mystic that I believe he searched for. Kevin's going to respond by using a Force Will, pitching a Minor Misstep, which is some of the new additions to Legacy now that there's a void of free slots since Expressive is no longer in the format. But he will pass the turn. And then the Rashad import's going to get Wastelanded at the end of the turn, which is a great play by Kevin to give him access to both of his mana sources. Then he can potentially drop a Murktide. And a Delver of Secrets is going to flip to a Shown Unholy Heat. So one of the hard parts about this matchup for the blue-red Delver player is you really want to dedicate your counter spells to specifically Swords, Plowshares, and Solitudes. The problem is those cards are essentially free by either being 1 or less mana, and really takes days out of the equation to be able to get away with that. And because of that, your Force Wills are incredibly valuable to hold on to specifically stop those 2 cards. But again, Kevin attacks with his Delver of Secrets, bringing Ian down to 15, and then follows up with an additional Delver of Secrets. And Kevin right now has 3 creatures on the board, 2 of them being Delver, 1 flipped, 1 not, and the other one being DRC. And he's going to fetch and go grab probably an additional Volcanic Island and or Island. But he's got an Unholy Heat in his hand right now, Kevin, and it's just with 2 Mother of Ruins, there's just not going to be a good time to ever cast that. I mean, if you ever want to remove a creature, you're going to have to draw 3 pieces of removal, and then essentially after you've made that play, you're out of removal probably for the remainder of that game. And blue-red losing Expressive Iteration really takes the winds out of its sail to be able to have these huge tap out plays. Alright, so Kevin is attempting to cast an Unholy Heat, and he's using it to trigger the DRC, and he's targeting one of the Mother of Ruins that has been in play since turn 2. Kevin's going to, off the DRC trigger, put a Force Will from the top of his deck to the bottom. The Unholy Heat is going to fizzle due to Mom giving itself protection from red, still leaving Ian with an additional Mother of Ruins untapped. Alright, Ian's going to untap, bring his Aether Vial up to 5, I believe. Ooh, Caracas is a big one. Again, I know I mentioned it probably earlier in the video, but Caracas and Yorion can have some pretty ridiculous plays, but Ian looks like he cast a Spirit of the Labyrinth, which is a 3/1 that makes sure that Brainstorms and Ponders are bad in this matchup. Alright, looks like Kevin's going to cast a Lightning Bolt. I don't know where he's declared a target, but I have to assume after his learned lesson from the previous Unholy Heat, it's got to be going to the face. He's going to trigger his DRC, see what he gets. But, yep, 3 to the face, bringing Ian down to 12, which if Kevin can somehow assemble an arsenal of flyers, he'll be able to get out of this game. He does reveal a Ponder off the top of his deck, but again, that Ponder with that Spirit of the Labyrinth. So Kevin's going to attempt, okay, looks like he's going to attempt to cast the Ponder. The downside is his graveyard is currently consisting of lands and instants. He has no sorceries in there. He does have the Ponder in hand, but he has no 4th type to get his Delirium to make his DRC active. So he does have 2 active Delvers. Alright, he's casting a Ponder. Ponder is going to trigger the DRC again, which he does put probably a Dead Daze into the graveyard, and he's then looking or pondering his top 3 cards. Does not have the ability to draw, but I see a Lightning Bolt there, and if you think you have the ability to close out the game, I think it's very valuable to keep that Lightning Bolt there. Alright, here comes 6 damage from Delver of Secrets. Alright, now that it looks like the Aether Vial is now on 5, which is just Solitude range. Cast for Athalia, which is going to make some of the things a little bit difficult for Kevin, but if Kevin can get the opportunity. Alright, so Ian's at 6, Kevin's untapping with 2 Flying Delvers, but Ian does have an Aether Vial on 5, and I can't imagine him not just snapping off his Solitude. The 3rd Delver of Secrets is coming into play. Ian's thinking and contemplating. Now Kevin is sending for 6. Ian taps the Aether Vial that's on 5 to flash in a Solitude, targeting one of the Delver of Secrets, bringing Kevin up to 20, and leaving Ian at 3. Ian's going to untap, draw. Alright, so one of the big plays he can make here is put Yorion in his hand, which I think is what he's going to do. First he's attacking with the Solitude. Maybe get that extra 3 life. both Solitude and Thalia are attacking, and Kevin's making a decision to block when he's at a nice healthy 20. Okay. So he blocks the Solitude, which is going to put Ian up to 6, which gets him out of bolt range. Now he's going to put that Yorion in his hand, and he's going to blink. He's going to ETB tap the Aether Vial. Or sorry, not ETB. During his main phase, he taps the Aether Vial and then targets both Thalia, Solitude, and Recruit of the Guard, which is then going to lead to a chain of just consistently getting more Solitudes and getting all of Kevin's threats off the board. Now Kevin's left with no cards in hand and a singular DRC, which he cannot currently make active. And with that Yorion in the sky being a 4/5 flyer, DRC has just no capability of getting through any longer. It looks like Kevin wasn't able to close out this game, and it looks like Ian's at the turning point here, and I don't know what series of draws Kevin could possibly have to get back in this game, but I can tell you this, with another Solitude in Ian's hand, I just don't see that happening in an active Aether Vial on 5. And the ability to Caracas the Yorion back to his hand to then keep splashing it down with that Aether Vial. Looks like Kevin's going for his last hurrah. He's got a bolt in hand, but that would have been nice the last turn since he had it at 3 there and could have been able to do some silly tricks with it, but it's going to cost him 2 because of the Thalia. He still has 2 active Mother of Ruins. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I think Kevin forgot that there's 2 moms in play. Again, give Kevin some credit here. This is the first time he's ever played Legacy. And Mother of Ruins is one of those cards that can be quite confusing, especially because the newer versions of it can't target themselves, thankfully. All right, Kevin scoops out now there. Looks like Ian takes down game 1 with just the classic beatdown of Aether Vial and that. But now we're going into a game 2, and we'll see if both parties, both Kevin and Ian, decide to keep their opening 7. All right, they look like they both kept their opening 7, and Kevin's going to lead off with the polluted Delta. The question is he going to go get a basic island, or is he going to grab a volcanic? It looks like he's going to grab probably volcanic and lead off with the Delver. Nope, he grabs basic island and leads off with Delver. Ian's play is Straw, Plains, Mommy. He's going to pass that right back to Kevin. Oh, I was like, wow. I was a pretty aggressive flip. Oh, looks like he knew. All right, there's a Force Will on top of his deck that's going to flip Kevin's Delver of Secrets, which is one of the key plays in this matchup, and the classic blind flip. Always had it. Then he's going to tap 1. Looks like he's going to be casting his Ponder. Ian's currently at 17 from that Delver. Kevin likes it. He's going to draw. Plays a fetch land off the top of his deck. And it looks like he's fetching to cast a bolt targeting the Mother of Ruins, which is a great play. So then his future removal, such as Unholy Heat, can be active. Ian then untaps, draws, plays Rashad on port, and cast a Spirit of the Labyrinth, which, again, for any Delver player, we are aware that that is a card that needs to get off the table ASAP. So Kevin untaps and draws. Attacks for 3, bringing Ian down to 14. Yeah, Spirit of the Labyrinth can be quite a difficult card to like take care of, and looks like we're casting a Ponder into it, knowing that you're not gonna be able to draw a card off of it. You already have it. Okay. The only other thing I can think of is he's trying to make a play where he can cast the biggest and fattest Murktide as possible, because he does have a Force Will in his hand, and if Ian's in a spot where he's gonna not have that much removal and he kind of has a slow start without the Aether Vials, the deck feels fair. But when the deck does have the turn 1 Aether Vial, it's just, you know, the classic eye roll, especially with your 80 card Yorion deck. Alright, so Kevin doesn't get to draw off that, which is a weird play to make with Ponder. But again, Kevin then passes the turn. Ian draws, attacks for 3, brings Kevin down to 16. Plays another Plains, and it looks like he's going to have the ability to... Oh, he's casting a Walking Ballista for 1. Interesting. Walking Ballistas for 1 can be really problematic. Alright, so he is pitching Force to Force, which... It's a very odd play, but... Depending on what's Kevin's hand, I don't know if I would have cared about the Walking Ballista, just because if you end up slamming a Murktide that's 7, the Ballista's never going to have any opportunity to do anything relevant, and I kind of would want Ian to spend his turn pumping 4 mana to get an additional counter onto that thing every turn. Alright, so Kevin, it's met with the Solitude by pitching Spirit of the Labyrinth. It's going to bring Kevin up to 17. And I got a glimpse of Kevin's hand. He's probably going to be following up and just slamming. Yeah, there we go. Here comes Murktide. So, the earlier play that Kevin made with the Force of Wills, I don't think I would have made that play, because I would hope to always have the ability to protect my Murktide. And now that you've lost 2 forces by pitching a Force to Force, it can be difficult. Alright, so looks like Ian is going to cast a Recruit the Guard, which is most likely going to get an additional Solitude, and then Kevin's 7/7 Murktide is going to be not long for this world, since I believe Kevin's hand is a Fury, which is a great card in this matchup, being able to deal with all the 1 toughness guys. And I can't see what that other card is. It looks like a DRC, so that Murktide is as good as dead. Looks like Ian went and grabbed a Remorseful Spirit, which is the 2/1 that you can sack to exile target player's graveyard, I believe. Alright, here comes 7. Oh, he's pitching that Remorseful Cleric. Had another Solitude already in hand, which is going to bring Kevin's life total up to a really high number, 24, but... Alright, it looks like he's casting a Fury and pitching it as Pyroblast to it, which Pyroblast is an odd card to bring in. It does tag the Yorion, but most Death and Taxes lists aren't playing like Meddling Mage out of the sideboard, and typically there you'll see the Tundra earlier. Alright, so Kevin plays a DRC and then sends it over to Ian. It looks like we're in a top deck war here, and Ian then plays a Thalia and says go. Which again, that Thalia has got a lot of neat tricks with Karakas. Alright. And DRC looks like he's way far from being Delirium. Oh, another Spirit of the Labyrinth. That's going to be a really difficult thing to deal with. Rashad and Port tapping one of the red sources. And the DRC is still not active, but at least it has the ability to block these. Yep, alright. Just the worst timed ponder that you could possibly have. If it's not going to make it delirious, Kevin, I don't think you should keep it there. You should go to the graveyard so you could potentially find a Mishra's Bauble or something that could make your DRC. That's Brazen Borrow, which is going to add a creature. Look at the Ponder again. Because Spirit of the Labyrinth is in play, he does not get any advantage of drawing from that Ponder. He just gets to rearrange the top cards or shuffle and see what randomizing choice he gets. Again, with the Ponder, I think the play is actually hold it, and maybe if you draw a removal spell, deal with the Spirit of the Labyrinth. That way you can chain spells, but teach his own. Then plays a top deck Plains, which then leaves him with some power on the board. Kevin's going to go down to 20 from his hefty life total of 22 from the Thalia crack. The Rashad on board is going to be tapping down a Volcanic Island, which putting that tax on Kevin with the addition of Thalia is obnoxious. Alright, he plays a Mishra's Bauble by paying 1 for the tax of Thalia. He's going to probably crack fetch, targeting himself, which is an interesting move. I think if you are going to be blind drawing, you should just target them. But he's now delirious and the race is on, so it's going to bring Ian down to 11. He draws off his Mishra's Bauble on Ian's turn due to his upkeep. Ian's then going to crack for 5 with the Spirit and Thalia. Oh, he's now putting Yorion in his hand and playing land go. Then again tapping at red source. Kevin's just got a Scalding Tarn, it looks like, in hand. Drew a Lightning Bolt, which could be really big in this matchup. He still is going to have to find a way to fight through a Yorion, but right now, if Ian casts the Yorion, it's really not for much value just because he's got no significant ETBs. And with Ian being at 11, Kevin at 15, the race is currently in Kevin's favor, especially since he's got that Lightning Bolt in hand. He's going to fetch, go down to 14. Kevin goes and searches up a Volcanic Island, which I believe this deck really only has one more land of permanence, or maybe 0. It would either be a Volcanic and a Steam Vents, but I'm not sure if those are either in this list. Alright, he's going to Lightning Bolt, target the Spirit of the Labyrinth, getting a trigger off the DRC. And putting Daze rightfully to the bottom because it's just not getting a significant type. Then attacking for 3 with the DRC that must attack, bringing Ian down to 8. Ian then draws. Attacks for 2, bringing Kevin down to 12. Then just, Skyclave Apparition is huge. My goodness. And then also with a Yorion in hand, I just don't see a world where any of his, if he doesn't draw a Murktide here, I don't think Kevin can win. And he drew a Murktide. Wow. So that's going to make that thing beef and cheddar. Still going to be a 6/6 Yorion. Oh, sorry, a 6/6 Murktide. And Ian's only card in hand is currently just that Yorion that he retrieved, which him it being at 8 is pretty significant. Because Kevin is going to probably end up having the opportunity to just crack with that Murktide regardless, just because that Yorion is going to have to block whether he likes it or not. Alright, looks like... Alright, there's a Field of Ruin, which... Okay. So Ian top decks a Field of Ruin. Looks like he's gonna activate that field of ruin. Is he? Nope, looks like he's just casting it for 5. So he's casting Yorion for 5. No reason to blink his team. Doesn't want to give Kevin the 1/1 token. Murktide's for 6. So I think the line that Kevin should be attacking. Oh, he plays a Wasteland. That's pretty big. He's gonna be able to kill the Caracas. That's gonna stop the loop of blocking with Yorion, bringing it back to his hand with Caracas. Wow. Doesn't follow up with a 6/6 attack though, so I think in that situation you attack there. But he's gonna play another Plains and say go. Kevin's gonna draw and get one of his Volks shot on port, and then we also have a Field of Ruin being active, bringing Kevin down to an island in a volcanic. Alright, so Kevin is forced to go and search for a basic. He does have another basic, so this list is around, looks like 2 islands. Looks like Kevin passed the turn again, not attacking with Murktide. Interesting. Okay. Oh, he's gonna be able to cut him off red with the double Rashad imports, bring Kevin down to draw. Brainstorms is not a bad draw at all. Alright, so Kevin plays a Scalding Tarn. He's verifying. Alright, he's fetching, going down to 11. He's searching for another volcanic. I don't think as Kevin was thumbing through the deck, I didn't see another volcanic in there. And typically these lists are playing no more than, I mean, even 2 islands is rare. Typically it's a steam vents plus an additional island. He's gonna cast a Brainstorm and paying the 1 tax due to Thalia, which is gonna leave him with 0 manas. Keeping 1 hand, or keeping 1 card, don't know what it is as of right now. Still think Kevin's right play is to attack since he doesn't have a Caracas loop anymore. So, I mean, if you look at the race standpoint, you bring him down to 2. The crackback is 8 back at you, Kevin, bringing you at 3, and then you can follow up if he decides to crack back. If not, he ends up you cracking him down to 2, which I believe if you attack, he's got to block, because if you have a bolt, you're going to end the game with him not being able to win, or not being able to interact with your creatures. Okay, so Ian being at 8, he's going to have to make a decision. Ends up, looks like he's making that block with Yorion to keep his life total at 8. Ian looks like he's checking to see how many bolts have been played this game. Alright, I'm not sure how many bolts have been played, but it's probably the number is 2. Yeah, 1 was on the Mom and turn 1, and then he played an additional 1 to get the Spirit of the Labyrinth. Ooh, a 2-mana Swords of Plowshares, which is going to put Ian back in the driver's seat. And with the Super Shot imports, just a DRC is never coming down. It's just because Kevin had a failed to find with that last fetch land. He's gonna float a mana, bolt the Thalia. Interesting. Okay. Field back to the top deck war. Draw. Pass the turn. Yeah, I think this is the spot where Kevin's mana starts getting taken away from him. Well, he's going to take 2, bringing him down to... That should be all 4 bolts that sell. Yay, look at that. Now Kevin gets a 1-1. Play a Mishra's Bauble. I mean, yeah, at this point you just start cracking it, right? Just in case. Yep. One solid and that just pretty much ends this game. Flicker Wisp. Okay, so this list still does play it. It's going to kill that token, put a 3/1 power into play for 3 power flyer into play for Ian, and then he's probably going to close the game real fast. Attacking for 3, bringing Kevin down to 8. I think this game's going to be sealed up just because of the inability to have access to red mana anymore. Oh, there's the 4th bolt. Okay, for some reason I thought there was another bolt. Draw. Wasteland 1. Oh my god. This is going to end up sending Kevin down to just a singular island for the rest of the game. And this is the tax part of Death and Taxes. And he's got Unholy Heat and Pyroblast in hand, which are just probably not going to be game players in this match. Sanctum Prelate, my goodness, once that thing resolves and it naming 1, there's just not a world where Kevin's going to ever be able to cast a spell again. And that's true. He's going to tap his red source and island on Kevin's upkeep. Things are looking grim for Kevin. I don't know if he's got a way out. Did draw a DRC. The downside is he's never going to have access to red mana again. Alright, bringing Kevin down to 6 with the attack from Sanctum Prelate. Again, the same repeated behavior from Ian, tapping down his Vulcan Island. Kevin does have a Brainstorm in hand, but again, I don't know what good that does him. He's out of red sources because he failed to find on his last fetch land, and he is literally just at his wit's end. Going down to 4, and islands played for Ian, tapping those 2 cards. Well, that's nice. Kevin does draw a Wasteland, so it's going to give him access to 1 additional blue source. I think the play Kevin's going to end up making, and I don't know if he boarded out Daze, but his Daze, no matter what Ian casts, he's going to want to bounce his Volcanic so that he has access to red mana for exactly when he needs it. Okay. That's a Wasteland responded. Okay. Kevin just lost access to his entire hand, which is 3 red spells and no ability to cast any of them. One due to the lack of mana, and also the second reason, yep, looks like Ian takes it down.